Well, look, I know lots of you want to see urgent action taken in terms of these illegal migrant boat crossings across from France to Kent. We saw, of course, yesterday I reported on Home Secretary Priti Patel threatening to withhold cash from the French, and the French have now responded to that. But just to give context again to where we are, more than 13,000 people so far crossing the channel via small boats, via this route so far this year, including 1,000 in the past couple of days. And just look at this Daily Mail graphic to get an idea of what the numbers are like compared to 2019, 2020. This continued to escalate, totally out of control. And as I highlighted yesterday, Priti Patel reported to have told Conservative MPs that the government could withhold the 54 million quid to the French. Of course, we've seen a load of money given to the French authorities, and yet the numbers coming across illegally via this route have continued to swell. Well, France has now hit back, accusing Priti Patel of breaching trust, and the French Interior Ministry, clearly not very happy, saying the funding granted by the British government within the framework of this cooperation is a fair contribution to this effort, which relies mainly on French forces. They say that the terms of this funding were negotiated in detail with the British side and there was never any question of making payment conditional on quantified targets. Such an approach would reflect, they say, a serious loss of confidence in our cooperation. How much confidence do the people of Brexit UK have in the French authorities right now, given the ridiculously high numbers we've seen come across and the pretty pathetically low levels of prevention that we've seen from them, despite giving them huge amounts of cash? French Interior Ministry going on to say, we call on the British government to be cautious about the announced use of procedures to fight against attempted sea crossings, which would not only be dangerous for men, women and children on board these boats, but contrary to international law. So you've then got the French now lecturing the UK. The current approach, quite clear, relying on the French authorities, giving the French authorities money and resources, has been a complete and utter failure. They conclude, however, by saying it would also introduce a break in the spirit of mutual trust that has so far underpinned our common action. I don't know, guys. Let me know if you feel a degree of common trust with the French authorities over this complete and utter chaos that we've seen now. Not just for months, I repeat it. This has been going on. This has been escalating for years. The French have not got a handle on it. They've been given more money to deal with it, and yet the problem has continued to spiral out of control. Now, Boris Johnson was asked about this in Prime Minister's Questions today by Conservative MP Lee Anderson.
Now then, we have thousands of illegal immigrants arriving on our shores every single month. When are we going to take some direct action and send the boats straight back?
Mr. Speaker, I share the indignation and the frustration of my honourable friend at the cruel behaviour of the gangsters, the criminal masterminds who are taking money from desperate, frightened people to help them take a very, very dangerous journey across the Channel. This is a perennial problem, but we were, my right honourable friend, the Home Secretary, is dealing with it in the best possible way, which is to make sure that they don't leave those French shores. We depend to a large extent on what the French are doing, but clearly, as time goes on and this problem continues, we are going to have to make sure that we use every possible tactic at our disposal to stop what I think is a vile trade and a manipulation of people's hopes.
Sadly, I just think this whole approach, this strategy of relying on the French and hoping it's going to come good and the numbers are going to come down through the efforts of the French authorities is completely and comprehensively failed. It's very clear the solution to this, seeing as the French are so keen to escort the boats into British waters, we need to start escorting them back into French waters, back to France. That's where the boats can be taken back to. The French, as I keep saying, I'm sure will kick off about it. And then finally, we might actually stop the ridiculous number of boats coming across. I believe it's over 500 boats so far this year. Totally and utterly out of control. But look, let me know what you make of these comments from the French government. What do you want to see Boris and Priti Patel do next? Let me know in the comments below, guys. And as ever, make sure you've hit subscribe and the bells. I keep bringing you all the very latest. Thanks for watching.